Welcome back to the Nick Bartlett Show, everybody. Excited to be back, grateful to be back, and let's see what we got on the agenda today. So, starting off the show, essentially for those of you who know, I guess I should probably introduce myself. My name is Nick Bartlett. I'm the broadcast manager here at Sports Pac-12. I'm also a staff writer at another really cool website. If you want that information, you can look me up on Twitter, and that is Words by Bartlett. Yeah, give myself that shouty. And so, yeah, that's who I am. That's kind of important. But on the agenda today, essentially what we're going to be breaking down here, and if you haven't figured this out yet, this is a Pac-12 football show. I would hope that you figured that out by the background. But on the agenda today, we're going to be following, for the longtime viewers, the same format as last week. So I'm going to be giving you my breakdown on the big game of the week, and I'm actually going to be picking Stanford versus Oregon. I know that may surprise a lot of people. I think a lot of fans are really excited about the ASU-UCLA matchup, and I'll give you my reasoning on that in a little bit here, but we'll save that for the show, not just the introduction. After that, I'm going to give quick previews on all the matchups around the Pac-12 this week. And after that, I'm going to end the show with Bartlett's random topic of the day. So, same stuff as last week. Should be a lot of fun. I mean, we got a couple good games this week. A couple really good games, in my opinion. Kind of throwback classic with that Stanford-Oregon game. And then we got the UCLA-ASU matchup. Could be a lot of fireworks. And even that UW-OSU matchup could be a lot of fun. So, at least 3 really exciting, really cool games to watch. But again, starting off the show, we're going to start with the Oregon-Stanford matchup, which I do dub the game of the week. So let's dive into the notes here. Whoa, dude, that was exactly what I wrote down. That was kind of freaky. That was weird. Didn't know it could be that. Wow. All right, that was a moment of synchronicity, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, essentially the reason I'm picking the Ducks and Cardinal matchup, it really has to do with George Kliavkoff and his decision-making along the lines of everything is really guided towards the college football playoff, and the Ducks are the Pac-12's only realistic chance at making the playoff. I mean, if we're trying to be completely honest here, I mean, you guys know how to, you guys know, But ASU UCLA really is a phenomenal game, and I don't want to undersell that at all. But ASU is probably not going to make the college football playoff, and if with all the scandal type stuff, politics may get involved to keep them out in some way, shape, or form. And for UCLA, as awesome as they've been, it's really hard for me to see this team as a college football playoff team. Maybe a team that surprises people and wins the Pac-12. I'm not saying that is impossible, but a college football playoff team is a little bit different of a level than I see for these Bruins. So, again, the Pac-12 game of the week, in my eyes, is going to be Stanford versus Oregon. It's that throwback from a couple of years ago. This was kind of that big game, back in the day. The speed of Stanford, the speed of Oregon, the brutality of Stanford. So it's going to be a lot of fun to break this down here. So let's get to the notes now for real. All right, so for Stanford, essentially, this just feels like a trap game, or for Oregon, this feels like a trap game in its most organic form. Stanford's coming off a really tough loss where they got off to a slow start against UCLA. It was a really, really slow start, and David Shaw had some interesting, maybe some would say strong words to say after the loss. Actually, I pulled out kind of maybe a softer quote just to, I'm not trying to do anyone in some bad light here. So, but one thing David Shaw did say is throw it on me. It's my fault. Not going to rattle off what we did wrong because it's pretty obvious. That speaks for itself. And then Shaw also added, didn't run it, didn't throw it, penalties inexcusable. And so, yeah, I mean, needless to say, Stanford is going to be prepared for this matchup. I think Shaw, I've been saying it for the last couple weeks, is probably feeling some heat. I think that they wouldn't fire him necessarily this year, but if Stanford continues this downslide, he could find himself in the hot seat in the upcoming couple of years here. So for the Ducks, I really want to start with Anthony Brown. I believe that's what we got next on the notes here. Let me double check that for sure. And yeah, so essentially it all starts with Anthony Brown. And surprisingly, this is the highest the Ducks have been ranked, number 3 since the 2014 season. That's the early Mark Helfrich era. I believe that was his second year. So big stuff from the Ducks. Big stuff. And I also believe that 2014 season was the year they won the conference, won the Rose Bowl. I think it was 13 games they won off the top of my head. And they lost to Ohio State in the national championship that same year. So, I mean, obviously a phenomenal run. But, yeah. I mean, I think that speaks for itself. So, Anthony Brown has gotten them to this level. But, again, one loss and things change. One loss and things can change very quickly. So, hopping back right now, modern day, modern era, or modern moment, Brown has really done phenomenal in the early season, filling up the stat sheet. 764 passing yards, 163 on the ground, and a combined 6 total touchdowns. He just has the guy, or excuse me, he just has the feel of the guy who, he just seems calm in the moment while also understanding the significance of his position. And that's a really important balance to have. I think that a lot of people probably have one or the other and not both. And Anthony Brown seems to have that, and that's powerful. That's powerful stuff. That's really powerful. And what else do I got here? Probably some more stats on Anthony Brown. I want to actually this week probably give you guys all the stats I wrote down in the past. May went off the top of my head a little too much, so maybe a little too much. But yeah, so he's already proven himself in pivotal moments. That 4th and 2 run against Fresno State, it was like a tie ball game, 24 apiece, 3 minutes left, and he took a 28-yard essentially run to the house. And if he doesn't make that play, I mean, Oregon's season already looks entirely different. We're not talking about them as a college football playoff team necessarily. We're not talking about them as a college football playoff team, but they're definitely not ranked number 3, and that's for sure. So that was a crucial play. Obviously, the win in Ohio State, I probably overstated that. Nah, not yet. Haven't overstated that yet. But I mean, just winning the shoe, that's literally like, if you guys play Madden, that's like winning against the top team, all Madden difficulty on the road. That's rough. I mean, he got it done. He got it done. So, I mean, he's gotten it done in pivotal moments, and I think that it may be easy to overlook how good he's been early in the year. I think that, like, he just has this, again, he just has this calm demeanor. So I think I've said that enough. And I think that he's going to be able to take advantage of a Stanford defense that's allowed 27.5 points per game in the early season. And I think that the Ducks offense really flourished against the Cardinal. The next note I have here is going to be for the Cardinal. It's going to be the Cardinal quarterback. And Tanner McKee, dude, that was like a robot. It was like the Cardinal quarterback. I've caught myself doing that like 3 times today. Maybe it's reading the notes too much, guys. No, but for the Cardinal quarterback, for the Cardinal, it's all about Tanner McKee. Ever since he took over, I actually want to get this stat across. But ever since he took over for the Cardinal, he's the Stanford's averaged 35.6 points per game. And I think that he is the feel of a future NFL prospect. I think that he's probably the most overlooked player in the Pac-12 early season. I know he may have struggled really early in the game maybe a little bit deeper than early in the game last week against UCLA. But when this guy gets going, it seems that he's probably going to be more consistent than not. Watch out for Tanner McKee. And that's the reason I actually have this as game of the week. If it was Jack West, I sure as heck would not. This wouldn't even be close. But I think with Tanner McKee playing signal caller, I think that Stanford legitimately has a chance to win every game. I think that they lack talent at the skill position players. Now I'm probably jumping ahead on my notes, but here's the first tangent of today, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I just think that Tanner McKee is truly phenomenal. And ever since the first start, even against Kansas State, and I probably said this last week, he came in and just threw really nice 50-50 balls that not a lot of quarterbacks would have the confidence or maybe the high IQ to throw. And especially when you have receivers that can't create separation, these type of throws are paramount because it gives their receivers at least a chance for the ball to hit their hands and gives their receivers a chance to make a play. And not a lot of receivers really get the chance because quarterbacks can't usually make those type of throws, especially at the college level. So, yeah, Tanner McKee's a baller. Let's get back to the notes now. Yeah, now on his stats, essentially in the early season, he has 863 passing yards, 8 throwing touchdowns, and he's also added 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive early on. And again, for Stanford, biggest concern is going to be, can they win in one-on-one matchups? I mean, Bryson Tremaine and Elijah Higgins, I don't see him being able to win against Mikhail Wright and you, come on, you guys get what I'm saying. So I mean, just for the sake of fun, I'll give you Stanford's wideout stats, but they're really not going to be able to win in most one-on-one matchups against the Ducks. Let's just be real here. I mean, we got Verone McKinley out there. This guy's probably going to be like Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. So I mean, you know, like. But again, just for the heck of it, I got the stats here. We don't want to leave us shorthanded. Don't want to just write these down for no reason. Higgins in the early season has this is Elijah Higgins, Stanford's receiver, has 16 catches, 211 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Tremaine has contributed 17 catches, 197 yards, and he has 4 touchdowns. So I mean, they're not doing bad, but again, against the Ducks, these guys are just probably not going to be able to create much separation. So I think that's pretty much it for this notice right here. Again, that's my big takeaway, is essentially the 2 quarterbacks. That's what's going to make this game fun. I think Oregon obviously is more talented at probably every other position realistically, barring maybe 1 or 2 players on Stanford's offensive line. But, I mean, it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. And if Tanner McKee can just not turn the ball over and maybe take advantage of a couple short fields, maybe a nice long punt return and kick return sets him up. Maybe the Cardinal will get an interception and force a turnover, something along those lines, and then take advantage of their opportunities, really scoring the red zone. Then maybe the Cardinal can pull off the upset. And that'd be really cool to see at home, especially after whatever the heck that was for the first quarter, and maybe again a little bit of further in the game last week. So those are the big things. And for Oregon, I did want to really say this. Wow, I've been talking for 12 minutes already. Wow, I really went on depth on this game. So for Oregon, the last thing I did want to say is just watching this team, I've never had the feel of a Ducks team like this personally. They feel different. Not even that 2019 Justin Herbert led squad. They were good, but like they never had that feel. And this Ducks team has that feel. They have that quiet vibe. For me, Mario Cristobal was a person I hated on for a long time. Then I slightly hated on him. Then I moderated him, and now I've slowly learned to like him. So I'm thinking as time and time goes on and we move on that spectrum, I'm probably going to learn to love him. I think he's a great coach. Respect his balance. Respect his MMA background as well. So here's tangent number 2, ladies and gentlemen, today. But yeah, with him at the helm, I think that Oregon really does have a chance to do some phenomenal things this year, reach some great heights. I mean, they look tremendous so far, really tremendous. And again, I want to just throw one more shout out to Anthony Brown. And I know there's a lot of other amazing players. I mean, I've left out so many great players, but I just really want to give Anthony Brown a shine because I think sometimes it's easy to overlook greatness. And what he's done in this early season, why the Stanford matchup's so big. The only other teams that could really trip up Oregon right now, realistically, obviously, maybe Oregon State. But the games I would look at is I believe they have Utah and Washington on the road as well as Stanford this week. So that's why I think this game's so big. If the Ducks can get over this early in-conference road game, it'd probably go a long way for confidence, especially with Utah and Washington who've looked inconsistent. So you'd think Oregon may be able to cruise the rest of the way. Their schedule sets up really nicely. So, yeah, I just think this team feels different. And the reason it feels different is if you didn't know, I went to WSU. Glad I checked the notes. And I mean, back in the day, and I'm more of a probably just an all-around Pac-12 guy. I love watching all the teams. Maybe not CU right now. I'm not going to hate on Brendan Lewis right now, even though that was shade right there in and of itself. But the reason I really got this feel of the Ducks just really falling off was for the Cougs. I'd watch them, and they were like beating Oregon and doing it pretty easily. I'm thinking back to the Mike Leach era, and it's like the team really fell off. And even in that 2019 year, I believe that Justin Herbert had to lead a last-minute drive against WSU to really make the game close. So that's why they just never felt that good. I was like, Oregon's like, WCU's beating them, like, and like, this doesn't feel lucky. WCU's just beating them. It's happening year in and year out. So to see Oregon really get back to this number 3 level, kudos to Mario Cristobal, the rest of the staff, and they just feel different. And I hope that, for the sake of the conference, I hope they beat Stanford. I'm just going to be real here. Just for the sake of the conference. So yeah, that's going to do that on this game. And let's get to the quick previews. And these are fun. Forget all the stats and all that crap. I don't even know what I'm about to say here. I feel like that was a Dane laugh. Shouts to Dane, dude. That was a Dane laugh. From the Dane and Nick show. This guy's like running like the world over here on Sports Pac 12 now. He's like 700 different roles. I see him post like 47 different articles a day. I try and like retweet some of his, but he has like 43 coming out at once. So shouts to Dane. Again, if you've been listening with me since the Dane and Nick show. But that really was a Dane laugh. I don't know where that came from. So quick previews. USC at Colorado. Even though the Trojans have lost 2 out of their 3 last games, it is time for me to hate on Brendan Lewis. He should still not play football. And for matter of fact, whoever is playing him should probably be fired, Carl Durrell. Oh, you go, just fired. Oh my, you play. I don't break the rules. Do something. So yeah, as long as he is quarterback, speaking back to Lewis, yeah, CU is never going to win, and it's probably not going to be close because they can't score, they can't move the ball, they can't get first downs, they can't get the ball to receivers, they can't do anything, and they're going to lose. So I'm saying the Trojans by 14 because they've looked kind of confused lately. Yeah, last week was kind of embarrassing. So for USC, I think they win by 14. Probably should be more, but Brendan Lewis is that bad. So yeah, I don't even know if that made sense, but hey, USC by 14. Next one, Oregon and Stanford. I talked about that for an hour. Didn't give you the score necessarily. I got Oregon 34-21. WSU at Cal. Yeah, Cal may have pulled off some momentum last week, nearly knocking off UW and come from on victory. Chase Garbers is probably maybe the best quarterback in the Pac-12. DTR, Anthony Brown, he's up there. I mean, stats-wise, I know last week he was leading the conference in passing yards before last week. Don't quote me on that. I'm like 90% sure. But Chase Garbers is phenomenal. They don't really have much at the skill position players, honestly, which is really hurting Cal. Defense, I don't want to call them elite, so Cal doesn't have much to be desired, but they're playing WSU, and this isn't the Mike Leach team I was just talking about a couple years ago. Rolo's squad have looked, I'm trying to be nice, very interesting at best, and they just look confused at all levels. The program feels extremely unstable, and I'm thinking Cal is going to win by, I don't know, what did I say? What are in my notes? You went off my notes there, guys. Essentially that's pretty much it. Essentially, the one thing I did want to say is that Cal has Chase Garbers and a subpar opponent, and I believe they're at home, so should prove favorable for the Golden Bears. And for WSU, this is a must-win game that I don't think they're going to win. So Cal 28-21. Washington and Oregon State. The Beavers feel like the hot pick coming in, to be real. I don't know why everyone's so high on them this early in the year. To be quite frank, UW's players are better recruits, more talented, and I think that UW will dominate them up front. At some point, I like to believe that Jimmy Lake's physical mentality is going to kick in. I would like to believe in this. I don't know if it's going to happen. But yeah, so I think that UW does understand that essentially loss here would literally ruin their season. I think it would completely ruin their season, and it'd be a mark in the Pac-12 because Seattle, big city, and it just bodes well for the financial revenue. So if you're just a casual Pac-12 fan, you may want to pull for the Huskies in this one. But again, UW, better players all around, and I think their defense finally steps up. Jimmy Lake finally finds the fun. Finally. All right, I'm just gonna read what I had written down. Huskies win an ugly one, 20-17. How long have I been talking, guys? I told you that I'll try and get you out of my show as always in 20 to 25 minutes, and we're at about mark number 20, or minute number 20, so we're good. Cool. And the last game, nice. After saying finally 40 times, the last game we got is ASU at UCLA, And I'm picking ASU 35-32. I think that Herm Edwards is a better coach than Chip Kelly, and I think that UCLA hasn't really faced many teams as talented. Obviously, the LSU game was really cool to see, and the Fresno State game was a really tough opponent as well. But I think that ASU, regardless of what happened in the offseason, is a very talented opponent. And I do believe that Jaden Daniels is probably still better than DTR, even though DTR had that amazing performance last week. Phenomenal. Stepping in just after getting injured during that touchdown pass. So don't want to take away anything from DTR. He's also growing on me. He's like a Mario Cristobal. I'm learning to respect him, but he still has just those one or two questionable plays that in big time games, those just hurt. I really like the kid. I love what he does. His heart showed me so much last week. I want to cheer for him, but putting on my analyst shoes, because I don't want to say analyst hat, those one or two mistakes really could come back to hurt the Bruins at some point in a big game. And this is a big game, and that's why I'm picking ASU again, 35-32, thinking that both teams have explosive offenses. So this one should be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And yeah, guys, whew, take a deep breath. That is it for our football coverage, and that's going to leave me time for Bartlett's random tickety topic of the day. And, okay, love that introduction, guys. Essentially, what I did want to say is that I think that we all are on the same page and understand and are grateful for the 9 to 5 job we have. I know for me personally, I love my job. I work with kids, and I'm really, really grateful. I have like awesome bosses, and just everyone's like terrific, and it's really cool. Obviously, there's like not everything's perfect. I mean, there's some things I don't prefer, but in general, it's really cool, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. But one thing I did want to say is that I think that as people, we get caught up so much in our 9 to 5s, we forget like who we are as people. Like we get so like caught up in our roles of society, and we're just people. It's like it just we're all the same. We drink water, we eat food, we watch TV, probably have a beer from time to time. And like maybe a cheat meal from time to time. Maybe we all skip the gym from time to time. Like we're all probably the same. Some people like music, some people like reading, some people like art, some people like sports. Obviously, we all like sports, that's why we're here. And that's why when we're getting so caught up in like, oh, this guy is an engineer, and maybe this guy is a musician, or this gal is a financial accountant, or this gal is a teacher, and it's more like people may try and find differences. And it's like, well, what if the teacher and the accountant may like the same heavy metal band? We don't know that. But we may get so caught up in our 9 to 5 little work groups. And again, I love my everyone I work with. It's just kind of a general observation. I worked at a number of different jobs through coaching basketball and a variety of different schools. And I like to stay on a schedule with one of my first jobs at a senior home retirement home. So I'll pick up a shift there from time to time. So like I love it, and I'm grateful for it all. It just, there is maybe more to life than maybe just one group of people that you work with. And there's so many cool people out there, and so many connections to be made, and just so many beautiful people. Yeah. Oh, the beautiful. The song's Lonely People. That was like the weirdest like combination. So on that like really not good musical note, I was gonna say, I'm so grateful for the 9 to 5. I think we all are. It allows us, probably for most of us, to pay our bills, do what we want to do, and live the life that we live. So truly grateful for that. But there is a lot of cool people out there and other ways to connect. So just want to close on that for Bartlett's random topic of the day. And yeah, 24 minutes. We're getting good at this little timing thing. And concluding and summarizing today's show. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. We talked about thank you for tuning in as always, if I didn't say that. Really appreciate your viewership, your watchership, if that's how you describe it. But concluding and summarizing today's show again, we broke down Stanford and Oregon in detail. After that, we did quick previews for all the games in conference. And off the top of my head, I believe I picked USC over Colorado 28-14. I believe I picked Oregon over Stanford by 13 points. UW over Oregon State 20-17. Uh, Utah, and okay, I don't know the rest. I tried, guys. But yeah, did quick previews. You guys watched the show, so you guys know who I picked. And after that, we ended with Bartlett's Random Talk of the Day, in which it talked about how we all are probably really grateful for a 9 to 5 job and the amazing people we work with and the stability it probably provides for most of us out here. But there are just a lot of cool people, and it may be important to not get so sucked into that. It is an important facet of life, but when you come home, it is cool to connect with other avenues, other cool people who may have similar interests that you may have not thought of, whether it's over Indian food meal. That's probably more my style. I love me some Middle Eastern food. I usually post about sports on Twitter, but I may slip in like a food post from time to time. Very rarely, but like maybe once a week. But all right, guys, thank you for tuning in as always. And oh wow, that was smooth. I'm loving the smoothness. A lot of fun games this week. A lot of fun games. And yeah, if you guys didn't know, here's my tagline. I'm out. Olive oil and hummus.